Uh, So I've always been interested with conspiracy theories. Um, David Ray Griffin, a student of my grandfather and a guy whose work I mostly respect, has spent the last few years devoting himself uh, to 9/11 to the 9/11 conspiracy theory movement. But did the government actually plant explosives in the World Trade Center and bring down the towers? For a while, he kind of had me convinced, but it's just I went to hear him one time, and I've seen the whole truther movement come out of the woodwork, and they kind of come up with one elaborate explanation over another, and it seems to me that at a certain point you got to put Occam's razor in it, and the more elaborate the conspiracy sounds, the less likely it's true. It seems to, the less likelihood I would put on it being true. Um, now, yeah, I know some people like to discount that conspiracy based on some judgment that our government would never do such a thing, and that I think is naive. I think that the same people who authorize torture and spying on Americans, I don't think there's any sort of moral compulsion about that sort of thing in someone as Machiavellian as Dick Cheney. But so I think the whole what they call the LIHOP theory, that they let it happen on purpose. I would be open to an explanation like that. Um, but when the whole movement has been taken over by people who are convinced that Bin Laden had nothing to do with it, that the government engineered the whole thing, it just becomes farcical to me at that point. Um, but I think the real conspiracies in reality are the ones that are more out in the open. I mean, people, talking about the Freemasons or the Illuminati controlling our government. When it seems so much more obvious that Goldman Sachs and the corn lobby and the oil companies are the ones in charge. I mean, and we know that because of all the money they spend on the government. It's inner. I mean, they get their special privilege by having huge fortunes that they can use to influence government, and it's because that we have a government system in which a candidate can win by spending more money than his opponent, and so I mean, until we get meaningful campaign finance reform, then that's going to continue, um, and and so our government will continue to be held hostage by special interests, and so I mean, so I don't think that conspiracy theory that whole conspiratorial attitude is wrong per se. It's just that the real conspiracies are perpetrated not through huge cover-ups, but through people's apathy, and complacency. I mean, if you look at uh, there's a documentary out right now which I would recommend anyone go see, called "The End of Poverty." It's playing in certain theaters around the country, and will be out on DVD in a few months. Um, but it basically talks about how the World Bank and the IMF basically institute economic reforms in countries uh, through leveraging debt that basically don't lead to economic growth, but instead make the country a sort of economic colony for the West. And so um, there's I think so. There's also kind of the conspiracy of just playing on information asymmetry and the fact and people's ignorance. So yeah, and I think that what in a sense what conspiracy theorists want to believe is that there's some is that there's some secret power that's in control of it all. But as Terence McKenna once said, I think the truth is far more terrifying, and that is that no one's in control. Um, I think that there is no one conspiracy that's in control of everything. Instead, there's several different kind of conspiracies butting heads, and that I think being part of the solution, kind of we can be. I think in a sense, fighting back mean being part of a positive conspiracy against those conspiracies. So that's my little spiel on conspiracies. I didn't bring my tinfoil hat for this one. Maybe when I do a response video. Anyway, peace.